Welcome to the Intro to Desktop. In this episode, you will learn more about your desktop as far as your different icons and your taskbar, as well as get you a little more familiarized with your desktop properties and how to utilize that. Here's a closer look of a desktop, just to point out a couple of things so that you can just understand the concept of the desktop and what all it has to offer you. First, over to the left, as you can see the icons that are there, and all of desktops might have that. You might have more than what is showing, but these are the basics. You have the My Computer, which would display everything you would need in order to see what's going on with your computer, as far as the different hard drives that's within there. And you can access all your personal and all your applications and programs through that icon. The My Documents is all of your documents that you might have stored onto your computer, and you just have it in a separate folder, and it's placed on your desktop for easy access. The Internet Explorer, that is definitely a browser that is very useful, and you might also have the Mozilla Firefox as well. But either one will be just as useful, so you can access the internet. Your network of neighborhood, that is where you will definitely be able to see as far as who is connected to you or who you are connecting to. So if you cannot access the internet for any way, that would be a use for icon. But as of right now, you won't have to worry about that one necessarily. Now, the recycling bin is something that you need to familiarize yourself with. Just in case you were to delete a file or anything that you might have felt would have been useful, then you can always gain access back to that document or that folder or whatever that you deleted through the recycling bin. So initially the file or the document might not be deleted completely or permanently off of your hard drive, because it is sent to your recycling bin. So you can always gain access to it that way. Now, it's different if you were to delete, if you're on the internet or something like that, then that might not be retrievable. But when you first delete it, it will go into the recycling bin, and it is still accessible through your hard drive. Then you have right underneath the recycling bin is your start button, which is very useful, as we spoke about one time before. As far as that's the button that you will use to access different programs and applications that are within your computer. On the bottom there is your taskbar. Your taskbar is very, very useful, and we'll talk about that in a couple other slides over. Then you have your clock display, and we'll speak about that a little further as well. But that's where your clock is usually. And then you will also notice if you have access to the internet or anything like that, if you have a great connection, then that will be the area that you will look for that as well. Once again, the dead center, this is your desktop. Now this picture here will more so resemble the desktop that you are currently working on. And as I stated before, you might have more icons on your desktop than the previous picture. But this is, like I said, once again, this is your icon. As you can see everything. The only thing that's more introduced that we spoke about in an earlier episode is the pointer is now on your desktop. So it definitely is a little more realistic than your last picture. Take your time and look around. As I spoke of, in the slide, as far as this is an introduction to your taskbar. The taskbar is very useful for when you're trying to figure out what window you might have open, or if you want to minimize any windows and you just want to see what windows are still active, or what windows are running in the background. This picture specifically is showing the window that is considered active. And when you say active, that means that's the window that's opened on your desktop. And so that could be the window that you're working in, or it could be a window that's behind another window. But this is, even if a window is behind another window, that's not the window that you're currently working on. So the window that is in front or on top of every other window that is open on your desktop, that will show as being active in your taskbar. And this is the introduction into like a inactive or a window that might have been minimized, or a window that is not currently being worked on at the time. And so you see how it looks as though the active window is pressed in as if it was a button, and then the inactive buttons are on the taskbar they look as though they're unpressed. And so that's a sheer understanding of how you can be able to recognize as far as what tasks are being used and which ones are not. So that's why they call it the taskbars, because it allows for you to see all the windows that are open or that you are currently working on, or which one you are not. Okay, so this is an introduction to the right lower side of your desktop area, and it's more so like a clock sound control area, and it allows for you to see all the different, maybe the different devices, and like I said, it controls your sound, as you can see right next to the time there. And then you right next to the sound, the speaker looking icon, you see the internet, as far as the two computers together, and the globe that represents your internet and whether or not you have service. Now if you've seen an X there, then it will show that you are not able to gain access to the internet. So this area right here is very, very crucial in order for you to understand and to see what's going on. If you don't have sound, the first thing that you should do, of course, check the speakers. But away from that, check and see to make sure that your volume is up in your speaker that's located on your desktop. And like I said, this is to the left of this picture is the taskbar area, so you'll know where to locate it. Then if you were to click on that expansion arrows, it will open up all of your devices, or any programs that might be running that might need access, that you need to see right away or gain access to. This is where that will be located. And this is just in place to show you the difference between once you click press the expansion arrows, and to see how your list can expand. And like I said, it ultimately depends on how many programs that you might have open or that you might need open at a particular time. Just like as far as your antivirus or anything like that, you might need to gain access to those right away. And they typically are running all the time, just to monitor your service and everything. And so thus, that's why they would be on your lower control bar. And then as far as, like I said, your Internet Explorer, on mine here you see as far as the printer, and it's alerting me that, wait a minute, we don't have a connection to your printer. So that's the area, because I closed it out, but it's still showing that, okay, that you do have a form of an error there. So once again, this is the area as you get a little familiar with, and you should look around to make sure that you are familiar with each icon and what they are used for, so you can gain some awareness for your computer. Okay, now we're going to do a little activity. So if you go and we're back at the desktop area, and if you go, and I would like for you to right click your desktop. Okay, so once you have right clicked onto your desktop, you right click the mouse and onto your plain desktop, and you should receive this window that should come up. You got your option window, and I would like for you to go to the personalize at the bottom of that window. Now it might be a little different. It might just say display properties, or it might just say properties there. You know, each version of the operating system, it prompts something different. So whichever one, it's always at the bottom of the window. Please click on that. Once you have clicked on your properties window, or personalize, or whatever that you had at the last selection within that window, this is your display properties. This is how you can control as far as your desktop and your screensavers, which is what comes on to conserve energy once you step away. So after a certain amount of time, you can set it so that if you step away from the computer in 2 minutes, you want to conserve energy. or you don't want anyone looking at your information, so you can just set the screensaver to come on after a certain amount of time. But I will want for you to click on the second tab, which is your desktop. And I want to do a little activity with you so you can get familiarized with the mouse as well as your desktop, and you can see all the different options that are made available to you. Now with this one, I just wanted to give you a glimpse of a newer version. If you might, you might be working with a younger or older version, but this is more so a newer version. This is Vista. And so they give you a little more options, and everything is just broken down, so it's not so much in the window with tab forms, but they just actually just give you the list of everything that is made available to you. So as you can see, the arrows here are pointing to the 4 that basically points out the same thing that was in the prior window, the prior slide. So I just want you to, just to see as far as what else was out there and to get familiar with that as well. Okay. So now we're back at your display properties window, and I would like for you, like I said again, you click on the desktop tab, and then secondly, I would like for you to select wind as your background. Third, you have to always select apply, just to make sure that everything is applied onto your desktop, and usually it'll give you a glimpse of what is to come or what you should see, and to make sure this is exactly what you wanted. But you also want to make sure that the position, which is the second drop down window there above the apply, you want to make sure that that is on stretch, or else if it's tiled, then it'll be something totally different. But you would like it to be stretched because you want it to cover the whole desktop, the background. And then you can select whatever color. You can keep it whatever it's set for as far as the default, which is typically blue. And then lastly, after you pressed apply, please select OK. If you did each step successfully, this should be how your background should look. You take your time and have fun with it, and I see you on the next episode.